Okay, so I thought I'd throw in a day 5 bonus. And again, like I think this just comes from there's lots of people out there that they get something conceptually, so they understand it logically, but they just have a bit of trouble turning it into something that they can actually use. So I wanted to put together a bonus day just to really kind of help people along, just in case it just shakes the tree that little bit more, that just helps it sink in that little bit deeper. Okay, so you know you'll have an idea of why you do what you do. Like, what are the 6 core values that are really driving each of your actions? And that shows up in how you spend your time, how you spend your money, shows up in your interactions with other people, and what other people are reflecting back at you as well. And now you have that code, and you now have a clear vision of what that best version of yourself looks like, and what each of those values mean to you, and how they feel when they're at a 10, when they're turned up to a 10, but also what actions would you be taking if you were living those things every single day? Now, again, you might be asking, but how do I turn that into something I know into something that I do? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, the best way to turn an insight into an action is by doing. It's just by taking action and just using the thinking to change what you do. So the really important thing to note here is that just because you've had an insight, because we've really dug deep and we found out why you spend time the way that you spend time, why you spend money the way that you spend money, and why you respond to people the way that you respond to them, just because you have that insight and because you just suddenly see the world a little bit differently, doesn't mean that that insight is yours forever. Insight that isn't acted on reverts back to your old ways of thinking in time. So as soon as you have these insights, as soon as a new world of possibilities and opportunities opens up, you want to make sure that you ground that new insight into action so that you can reinforce it and you can make it part of you as quickly as possible. The quicker you can act on it, the more that you will then have that behavior in you. Now, I really don't want that to fade. Like, we put in a lot of work over the past 4 days, and I don't want that to fade for you because I know that there's been some really big insights that have come up. So what's the best way to turn insights into change? It's action. Plain and simple. And today's all about taking the code that you put together on day 4, and it's about looking at more ways that you can start to put that into action every single day. And it can just be, I think that we are very much in our heads these days. We walk around and we'll be thinking about where we're going next, what we're going to have for dinner, what we have to pick up on the way home. We're just constantly in our head rather than actually being present, experiencing the world through our senses and what's happening right now. Instead, we're commentating everything that's happening. So it's really just getting out of our head, getting into our body, and just taking action on these things. And that's where these core values live. They live in your body, they don't live in your head. So you just really want to make sure that you're not overthinking things, and you want to make sure that you're really just getting into action. And I think like really good question here is, what would the best version of me do? And again, knowing that the best version of you is guided by these 6 core values that are so important, which is how you would ideally love to spend your time, money, and show up and be seen by other people. But it's like, yeah, what would the best version of myself be doing? How would they plan their week? What subscriptions would they cancel? Because again, like, the best version of you isn't wasting money on things that they just couldn't be bothered to cancel. You would just do it because that's the decisive action taker that you are now, because you're so clear on what these 6 things are and you're that best version of yourself. What would you say no to that isn't in line? So you want to essentially get to the stage where you can savagely eliminate anything in your week or anything in your bank account that is not in line with these core values. And it's just being ruthless and still being able to sleep like a baby. If someone asks you, can you can you take their kids, pick up their kids from soccer practice and bring them back when you're picking up yours? And if that's not in line with your family time, what's most important to you? And you say no. And you don't feel bad about it, you don't feel guilty, you don't feel fear of retribution, you don't feel any of those things, because you are doing what is most important to you. And of course, there are going to be moments where it's important to you to connect with that person and to have a good relationship with your kids' parents, but you're making that decision because it's something that's important to you and it's something that you want to do, rather than, I don't want to say no because I don't want them to feel bad or I don't want them to judge me. Again, it's all about make decisions from an empowered place in line with what's most important to you, rather than a disempowered place because you're afraid or because of guilt. The most important things that you can do in life, because one's going to give you energy and one is going to take it away. And it's again, like, who do you want to spend your time with? What impressions do you leave people with? How much do you let other people's impressions of you affect you as well. So really, really key things. And again, always going back to what is the best version of me? What would they be doing right now in line with those values? And again, like I think I mentioned earlier in the week, anything that you spend time or money on that you don't absolutely love is taking the place of something that you do love. So if we look at this and say like a work scenario, say for example, if you have your own business and you take on clients who they're okay, they're a good fit, but essentially you'll work with anyone because you need the money. You're valuing safety or security, so you work with anyone. Now, in a different scenario, same business, different business owner, they have they're very clear on what's important to them, and they have a code, and they're being the best version of themselves in every day, or trying to be, and they value quality, they value integrity, and they value quality of life. They value fun, they value family time. Such important things. So it's like, well, to them. So it's like they will only take on the best clients, the people who are prepared to pay them what they're worth, and the people who will actually value their time rather than sending them emails at 2 a.m. in the morning and just harassing them with phone calls. The clearer you are on what's important to you, the better your life. So these things will enable you to really just savagely get rid of everything in your life that is not a hell yes, so that you are keeping space for the things that are. And having space, having free time in your week, having extra money in your bank account, all of those things are there for you to spend on the things that are most important to you. Such an important thing. And it's because a lot of these things are habitual, we can become really blind to them. It's like they sound so obvious. And I think some of the most profound things are the most cliche and overused, but it doesn't stop them from being so powerful if we actually stop and actually give them the gravitas and the weight that they deserve. And now, I mean, like if you acted yesterday and you have changed your behavior, well done. But if you haven't, and there's still something that you're just waiting to kind of push you over the edge, you're now left with a choice. After your awareness has been raised to how you are spending your time and money and the things that you aren't happy with. So there may even be a little bit of pain there for you. There may be some frustration. You may feel taken advantage of. You may feel obligated. You might feel like people are taking you for granted. You might have some of these feelings come up. Don't push them down. Stay with them, stay present, use them as a catalyst for you to make the changes that you want to change. Because you can try and numb yourself. You can just pretend like they don't matter. You can dive into another Netflix series. You can go and have takeaway, whatever the case might be. You can do that. And again, there's no judgment, because we do whatever we need to do to make ourselves feel better. But that's not in line with the best version of who you are. And this is an opportunity that you have right here. Greatness is knocking on your door, and this is your opportunity. And if you're not ready to open the door now, it's going to keep on knocking, and it's going to keep on knocking, and you'll answer the door when you're ready to. But if you're going to do something eventually, why not do it now? So this is your chance to make that choice and to powerfully choose, what are the things that you want in life, and what are the things that you are sick of tolerating and settling and putting up with. It's the other things that are stealing your time and money. But as we just said, time and money equals your life. So those things are stealing your life, and they're vampires. And you'll no longer be blind to these things. You can't be, because we've seen them. And it's like one of those things, like once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like I said, like pain, conflict, stress, pressure, tension, they all have a really bad rap, and people try to dissolve them, to neutralize them wherever they can. But that's what keeps people in this life that they're just settling, where they're stuck on the hamster wheel or the rat race, and they're just going around and around. They're going through the motions, and they're unhappy, and they self-medicate with junk food, booze, Netflix, porn, all of these things that just help them to stay numb, so that they are able to stay in denial about how unhappy they are. But we can do that, or we can take responsibility and make a fierce stand for what we want in life and what's important to us, and become that best version of us. So again, if you haven't already, I'm with you. I know that this stuff is hard, and I've always been a big thinker, so it can be really tough because we can overanalyze the crap out of everything. But I urge you, make sure that the work that you've done over the past 5 days isn't in vain, and answer the door, because greatness really wants to help you step up into it. Okay, I'm here if you need anything. If you want help with this, or if you just want to go faster, there'll be a link to book a call. We'll have a breakthrough session. There's no obligation. There's not even necessarily anything to buy, but if I can help you, I would love to. Whether that's offering tips, whether that's pointing you in the right direction of someone who can help you, or if it feels right for both of us, I can make an invitation to work together. either way, I want to help you reach your potential, whatever that means and whatever kind of like feels right in terms of the chemistry there, because life is too short to just settle and tolerate and put up with things. That's what I did from pretty much all of my 20s, and I refuse to do it for the rest of my life. And I want to help other people to make that choice as well. So again, I appreciate your time, effort, and energy over the past 5 days. And again, I'm rooting for you. I want to see you achieve big things, and I'm here for you if you need anything. Thanks, guys. Take care.